Hello everybody. Candlelighting this evening is 7:56. You know, this Shabbos is a very, very special Shabbos. It has a special name. It's called Shabbos Nachamu, because that is the first word of the Hatorah that we read on this Shabbos, the Shabbos after Tisha B'Av. You see, during every Shabbos, during the 3 weeks, the Hatorah that we read was a Hatorah that talks about sadness, the coming destruction of the temple, and so on. Now that Tisha B'Av is over, we have the next 7 Shabbosim, the next 7 Saturdays. The Hatorah is going to be a Hatorah of comfort and consolation. And that's what the word Nachamu means. God is telling the prophets to comfort his children, comfort and console the Jewish people. So this is a little bit hard to understand, because, you think that when Tisha B'Av was over and the destruction of the temple was over, all the suffering stopped, and now the Jewish people could breathe a little sigh of relief, even though they had suffered terrible, terrible suffering and pain and terrible destruction. But that wasn't the case. Even after Tisha B'Av, the Jewish people were still suffering. Romans were still slaughtering Jews in the streets. There were still cities where Jewish people were trying to fight against the Romans and overpower them. And every battle that they fought was lost. The famous story of the fall of Beitar, a city which was one of the strongholds of the Jewish people. And that fell. And there were an unbelievable number of Jewish people that were slaughtered. And their bodies were even left out. They didn't allow the burial. So what does it mean that after Tisha B'Av, now goes the Shabbos of comfort and consolation, followed by another 6 Shabbosim, all the way up to Rosh Hashanah, 7 weeks of comfort and consolation? During these 7 weeks and beyond, the Jewish people were still suffering. And what about all the Jews that were exiled to Rome, taken as slaves? So we can understand this through an analogy that is given. And the analogy is that there was once a man who was very, very sick. And all the doctors who came to check him out, they all said the same thing. This man has a terminal illness and he doesn't have much time left. He's not going to recover from this illness. And his days are numbered. They call the family to come together. And of course they're all sitting around crying. And suddenly a very big specialist, a very big doctor comes to town, and a big professor. And they approach him and they say, "Could you please check out our father? He's very ill. Doctors say no hope. Can you check him out? We'd like to hear your opinion." And he comes and he checks him out, and after he finishes checking out his health, checking out his illness, he tells the family, "I have good news and bad news." They say, "What's the good news?" The good news is that he's not going to die. He's not going to die. It's not a terminal illness. And he's going to get better. He's going to get better so strongly that he'll be stronger than he was before he got sick. He'll be more healthier than before he got sick. They said, "Well, what's the bad news?" The bad news is, I don't know when that's going to be. I don't know how long it's going to take for him to get better. It could take days, weeks, months, or years. I have no idea. But he will get better, and he's not going to die. Well, the family was all excited, and they're happy. They're singing, they're dancing. Their father's not going to die. And the question is, what are you singing and dancing for? The man is very ill. He's lying in bed. He's not walking around outside. He's not playing with his grandchildren. He's very ill. They're dancing and singing because they got the news that he's not going to die. That alone is a tremendous comfort to the family. And now they can just wait and hope for the day that he'll get better, and he'll be better than he was even before he got sick. And that's the answer. When Tisha B'Av happened, when the temple was destroyed, it went up in flames, and so many Jewish people were killed, the Jewish people thought this is the end. This is the end. God forbid, it looks like the Jewish people are going to be erased off the face of the earth. God forbid, it's all over. So now comes the prophets telling the Jewish people, no, it's not over. You've suffered, you've undergone terrible pain and suffering and destruction, but the Jewish people are still alive, and the Jewish people continue to live. And the Jewish people are not going to be, God forbid, erased from the face of the earth. And the Jewish people will one day be healthy and strong, better than they were before. When is that going to happen? We don't know. It all depends on us. It depends on us when we can show the Almighty that we are serving Him and we're focusing on our service to God more than anything else. And we're trying to increase in Torah mitzvahs. And we're trying to drive away the darkness. And when Mashiach comes and builds the third temple in the land of Israel and gathers all the Jews together, then we'll know that the words of comfort and consolation from our prophets have come true. And let us hope that that will be very, very soon. Have a wonderful and meaningful Shabbos.